Board Games in Libraries by Michael Robinson. Why board games? Board games are one of the only things in your collection that naturally encourage social interaction. Board games are relatively inexpensive. There are expensive games out there, but you don't need to stock those. Many of the components of board games are easily replaceable, small wooden tokens, that sort of thing. Board games can be language independent. There are a wide variety of games that use only language independent symbols. These games can be played between people that do not speak the same language. These games could potentially be used to bridge the gap between people of different cultures. Board games can teach valuable skills. Mathematics, dexterity, strategy, social deduction, and spatial reasoning, among others, are all found within board games. Board games can also be educational. There are a wide variety of historical board games, but there are also board games that deal with environmental issues, try to teach about biology and evolution. There are even board games that try to teach you how to program. But most importantly, board games are fun. What game should I get? If you're not into reading, there are a number of video review sites that are quite good. The Dice Tower could be considered the most thorough source of video reviews. They review almost everything. Their production quality is not the best, but they have a consistent quality. Shut Up and Sit Down is a higher quality production value. They have very nice reviews, but unfortunately they do not review everything. They are quite selective with their reviews. Finally, there is Wil Wheaton's Tabletop. Wil Wheaton is also quite selective with what he allows on his show, but his reviews take the form of playtesting with celebrity guests, so it is worth the watch. You can be assured that any board games that show up on Tabletop are of the highest quality. There are hundreds of board game blogs. This one, Board in the Library, is specifically about board games in a public library. You might want to check it out. BoardGameGeek.com is without a doubt the most popular site within the board gaming community. It has a ranked list of every board game in existence with user scores. As you can see here, by popular review, every game is ranked. There are a wide variety of themes. You could choose, for example, top strategy games, or top thematic games, or top educational games, and it will rearrange itself based on those criteria. Potential pitfalls. There are some potential issues when dealing with board games in a library. The first issue, of course, is not all board games are appropriate for a public library. Of course, not all books are appropriate for a public library, so you have to use your best judgment. I have a picture here of Cards Against Humanity. Obviously, this would not be appropriate for a public library, at least not in the general board game section that's available to children. Second, board games are potentially going to be handled more roughly than other library materials, and they may wear down quickly. This might mean that you need to replace board games periodically. This might mean that you need to invest in some drawing duct tape. The third issue is lost pieces. Some board game pieces, like the board or particular cards, might be difficult to replace. If you lose these pieces, you may have to replace the entire game. You may want to keep this in mind when buying potential games. Finally, playing board games are loud. I know us modern librarians aren't into shushing people, but it may be disruptive to other patrons. Thank you, and please add some board games to your library today.